We're going to start with evaluating functions. So I have three functions here, the f function, the g function, and the h function. And they all take their input, which is x, and they do something to it, right? Like the f function multiplies x by -3 and then adds 6. The g function multiplies x by 4 and subtracts 10. The h function takes x, squares it, and adds 9, right? So that's what each of these functions do. So when it says evaluate f of -5, this tells me which function. So in this case, it's the f function. And then it tells me to plug in this number. So for f of -5, what I would do is I would write -3x plus 6. But notice I'm not writing the x. I'm putting parentheses, and what I'm going to plug in is -5. So then I'm just doing the math. So this is negative times negative is positive. 3 times 5 is 15. Bring down plus 6, and I get 21. Okay. Now for here, it says evaluate g of h of 2. That means I'm going to first do this, right? I'm going to do g of whatever this number is, but first I have to find out what is h of 2. So h of 2 is, I'm going to take my h function, which is x squared plus 9, and I'm going to plug in 2. This means 2 squared. This means 2 to the power of 2, which is 4. Okay, and a quick note about this, right, about squaring. Let's say I was plugging in, let's just say, for example, I was plugging in -3, right? That would be, if I was doing -3 squared, okay, what does this equal? This means -3 times -3, that would be +9, okay? So just be mindful of that. It's easy to make mistakes when squaring numbers. Make sure you're multiplying this number by itself, not by 2, right? It's not -3 times 2, it's -3 times -3, and a negative times a negative is a positive, okay? So just be mindful. 4 plus 9 is 13. And then I'm going to take, look, so I did h of 2, and I got 13. So now I'm going to take g of, look, I'm g of this number, which is 13. Okay, so now I'm taking the g function, which is 4x minus 10, and I'm plugging in 13. Do my multiplication. 4 times 13 is 52, minus 10 is 42. Okay. Recommended to pause right now and do these two, but I'm going to go and continue on to this one below. Okay, so here, again, I have a function. We're going to say this function, right, this is f of x, right? This graph is f of x. And so what I'm doing here is I am finding, if I input this value, an x value, what is my output? What's my y value? So look, I'm going to go along the x-axis. This is the x-axis. I'm going to go to -5, and I'm going to find, where's the graph right here? And it's right here. So what's the y value right there? Oh, it's 1. Okay, next I'm going to go to x value of 0. That's right here. I'm going to find, where's the graph? Oh, it's up here. And what's that y value? Oh, that y value is 4. Okay, now I'm going to go to f of 3. So I go along the x-axis, I find 3. And here's the graph right here. Look, I didn't even have to go up or down for this one. Look, sometimes I have to go down. Like, let's say I was asked for f of -6, I would have to go down, right? Or if I was asked for 4, I'd have to go down. In this graph, like, a lot of it is above the x-axis, so I would have to go up for more. Look, in this case, when I go to f of 3, I don't have to go down or up. What's this y value right here? Look, where does it hit on the y-axis? Oh, it's at 0. Okay, f of -2 is right here. I'm going to -2 on the x-axis. Come find the y value, which is 5. If I go to 6 on the x-axis, I go find the y value, which is 3. And if I go to 4 on the x-axis, this time I do have to go down below the x-axis to find the graph. It's right here, and that y value is -1. Okay. Now I'm asked, is this a function? Yes or no? Okay, so it's a function if it passes the vertical line test, right? So if I draw a vertical line, it only hits the graph once. If I draw a vertical line, it only hits the graph once. If I draw a vertical line, it only hits the graph once. This is a function. There's no point, like, let's say, for example, a no would look like this. Like, let's say the graph looked like that. Oops, sorry. Let's say the graph looked like that. Then when I draw a vertical line, it would hit twice, once, twice. This is what a no would look like, right? But this one's a yes. Okay, domain. Remember that domain is x values. From left, look, this is the left x value, to the right x value. So if I go all the way to the end of the graph, the left side of the graph, it's right here. What's my x value right here? Oh, it's -6. So my graph goes from an x value of -6, and it goes and it covers all these x values, and it stops right here at +6. Okay, so x values, domain, go from left to right. And the range, so remember the x values, right? These are only these numbers along the x-axis. Notice I didn't look at all of these numbers. Now for the range, I'm only going to be looking along the y-axis, these numbers, and I'm going to go from bottom to top. Okay, so if I go, here's the bottom, the lowest point on the graph is right here. The y value is -4. And the top, the highest point on the graph, notice like it's not the end, right? It's right here is the top value of the graph. Oh, sorry. And the top value of the graph is at a y value of +6. All right, so you can go ahead now and try your side.